and the big story on world DNA coming from the United States.
Right, Rohit, this absolutely marks a new chapter in the American immigration story. The COVID era Title 42 is set to end in the United States. The legislation had allowed the nation to turn away potential immigrants and asylum seekers on grounds of the pandemic. Thousands of migrants have gathered near the Mexico border now in hopes of getting entry in the United States of America.
Yes, but things might not go the way they desire, as a bill has been passed in the House of Representatives which intends to hinder their entry. The bill passed on Thursday seeks to stop the immigrants and illegal drugs crossing the nation's southwestern border with Mexico.
Now, the bill, if passed in the Senate, will set tight limits on asylum seekers and will require them to apply for the U.S. protection outside the country. It would also resume the construction of a wall along the border and expand the federal law enforcement efforts. The House voted 219 to 213 to pass the bill, with no Democrats in favor and one Republican opposed. The Democrats have already warned to block the bill, but the U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy emphasized on its need.
By passing H.R. 2, House Republicans have shown we're focused on addressing our nation's biggest challenges. By contrast, the White House has 2 years to plan for the end of Title 42. We all knew the deadline, but the White House produced no plan, missed the deadline, and bumbled into another crisis. Even President Biden, who has only been to the border one time in 50 years, says this: there is going to be chaos for a little while.
Meanwhile, the migrants who had arrived to gain access through the borders found themselves in packed migrant shelters. Despite restrictions coming to an end, only confusion is what is prevailing among the migrants. Many of those who arrived have been stuck along the borders for weeks.
Estamos cansados ya, no sabemos ahorita por dónde ir. Todas las pertenencias que teníamos allá nos las quitaron, nos las botaron y todo. No sabemos dónde están las esposas, los familiares, nada de eso.
Even as the chaotic scenes play out at the border, the Biden administration is raising both funds and personnel to reinforce the border and stall a potential crisis. Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, has warned that the policy that shall replace Title 42 will have harsher consequences for illegal migrants who can be deported and barred from entering the United States for 5 years.
At 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Starting at midnight, people who arrive at our southern border will be subject to our immigration enforcement authorities under Title 8 of the United States Code. Here is what that means. If anyone arrives at our southern border after midnight tonight, they will be presumed ineligible for asylum and subject to steeper consequences for unlawful entry, including a minimum 5-year ban on re-entry and potential criminal prosecution.
So what was Title 42 and what are the new migration rules? Him is here to explain.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Of course, the United States is putting new restrictions in place at its southern border now. The Biden administration is warning migrants will be removed from the U.S. southern border on Thursday night if they haven't followed new procedures. Let's just take a look at Title 42, the rule that ends soon, and how the U.S. immigration policies are going to change. Now, President Joe Biden's administration is lifting Title 42, a protocol implemented by former President Donald Trump. Title 42, it essentially denied entry to migrants and asylum seekers based on the COVID pandemic emergency. Now, Title 42, it allowed border agents to rapidly turn back many migrants to Mexico without a chance to seek asylum here. Some public health experts, Democrats, advocates criticized its health justification, saying it was part of Trump's goal of curbing legal and illegal immigration as well. President Joe Biden, a Democrat, took office in 2021, vying to reverse Trump's approach here. However, he kept Title 42 in place, expanded it as his administration grappled with record migrant arrests at the U.S.-Mexico border. Since its inception, migrants have been expelled more than 2.7 million times under Title 42, although the total includes many repeat crossers as well. And Mexico has generally only accepted certain nationalities here. Then, US immigration process, it now reverts to a pre-existing system, that's Title 8, but with new, much more stringent rules for asylum seekers this time. Now, Title 8, it essentially criminalizes illegal border crossings, making future legal residency impossible completely. The new rules could deny asylum to almost all illegal border crossers here as well. Under US and international law, anyone who comes to the United States can ask for asylum. Now, the Biden administration is turning away anyone, as I mentioned earlier, seeking asylum who didn't first seek protection in a country they traveled through or first applied online. Now, this is a version of Trump administration policy that was overturned by the courts. Now, it's not clear here, however, whether the new norms will hold up. A lawsuit, of course, is expected as well. Now, the US officials also plan to open 100 regional migration hubs across the Western Hemisphere where people can seek placement in another country, including Canada and Spain as well. There will be hubs in Colombia, Guatemala, but it's not clear where the others will be. It's also not clear when they will be up and running here. Over to you now, Rohit.
Thanks, Hem, for that explainer. Let's now go across to Susan Tehrani, who we spoke to earlier on these new rules and how have border states been preparing for this.
Well, with not much help from the federal government, many states have decided to enact their own plans. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has announced that he'll be deploying hundreds of more Texas National Guardsmen to quote-unquote border hotspots, as he called it. These will be a part of something that he created. It's called Texas Tactical Border Force. It is tasked with repelling illegal migration. Also, Democratic Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs has announced that she will be opening up 5 additional routes for buses to bus migrants in border towns to Tucson. She's also said that if necessary, she will deploy Arizona National Guards as well. However, the mayors of California and New Mexico, for the most part, have remained silent regarding the cancellation of Title 42, and they have not indicated that they will be deploying any troops to their borders.
Now, Susan also explained to us what the political implications of lifting Title 42 are for Joe Biden, notably now that he is a 2024 presidential candidate.
The president is now squeezed by the political pressure of immigration like never before. Even during his first months of presidency, polls indicated that his vulnerability was immigration. During the midterm elections, some Democrats used Title 42 as a weapon against critics who said that they were too soft on immigration, and it had surprisingly very positive outcomes. And also some moderate Democrats in recent months have either tried to talk the president into extending Title 42 or using Title 42 as leverage with the Republicans to come up with a comprehensive immigration plan. Nonetheless, the White House continues to blame the Republicans for not accepting the Democrats' proposal when it comes to immigration.